first of all, I mean, there has been a big move with all the banks and insurance companies and debt funds in the market since, I would say, 6 months. I mean, all these institutions, of course, they are following the investors in the market, which means that there is a strong liquidity in the market, that's for sure. German banks have been very competitive. French banks have been very competitive on very specific transactions. So if you have a core asset with a very good tenant in a good location, I would say that you won't have any problem to get a financing at margin that which are below 150 basis points, Richard. So this is part of the market, and there is liquidity. But you were mentioning transaction like very well opportunistic transactions. So I would say restructuring transaction in the office market where you have 2 years of cash available and the tenant is leaving. So we can find financing for that kind of transaction, and the market has been very active in that field. Regarding the development financing, this is sure that things have changed a lot because if we go back to 2011, 2010, I think there was maybe two speculative transactions in France each year. And I would say that since 18 months, there have been several. And in terms of financing, French have been always the traditional banker for speculative financing. They've been very selective, and they are still very selective. But we see, for instance, we are working on 5 speculative transactions in the moment, which means that there are a lot others. German banks are starting looking at speculative financing, which is, I would say, for the market, a big surprise. They are selective, but they are ready to do large underwriting, even on speculative financing. And when I say large underwriting, it could be ticket of above 70 million euro, which is, big ticket for speculative. So, I mean, clearly the liquidity has improved a lot. Traditional banks, when I say it's French and German banks, are in the market. And for insurance companies, I will, of course, let Roland. He will explain you much better than I do. But they are also very active. And if we compare the financing market now to what it was before crisis, there is a big change. I mean, before crisis, the market was headed by U.S. banks and local banks. Now you have more than that. You have insurance companies, you have debt funds. So it's a complete new map for the financing. I would like to add something. I mean, traditional banks, German and French bank are very active, but they are still limited in terms of loan to value, and things have not improved. So if we look at all the large underwriting on very large transactions which have been executed since 6 months, US banks were back, and they have been the debt providers for that kind of transaction.